Hey folks, the Origin 100i is a sleek looking starter ship that's also quite practical. It's got a ramp-like staircase for ease of loading and unloading boxes, a bed for sleeping in, a small cargo bay, and it's also got these efficient thrusters with this air scoop system that makes it only sip hydrogen fuel. I also contend that it's totally capable of making good money via the most profitable bounty missions. So let's get into it. So to efficiently make money from combat, we want to run VHRT level bounty missions, one after the other with minimal downtime. The Origin 100i isn't the best ship in the game for that, primarily due to it lacking some firepower, but it's totally capable of earning you money until you can buy a more dedicated combat ship. Here you can see that we're engaged in combat with a VHRT target, Vanguard Warden. This is the easiest target that you're likely to come against in a VHRT mission, so it's a good starter to kind of validate and verify that we are able to do this. Fortunately, we're a pretty small target, so we're not really taking much damage. There's a little bit of desync as well. You can see the target flips around a bit, but before long we're able to take him out. This time we've ramped up the difficulty. We're fighting an Anvil Valkyrie. This is the second hardest target that you're going to encounter in VHRT missions. It's a lot tankier than the Warden, but it's also a bigger target. It's also pretty slow, but it's got a lot of potential firepower, so we need to use our agility to our advantage and stay out of its line of fire as best as we can. You'll see that I'll start rotating anytime I see bullets start flying towards me to try and shake off any incoming damage. We've only got one size 1 shield in the 100i, so we do need to try and protect our low shield pool as much as we can. By staying on top of him though, we're able to keep the pressure on, not let him recharge his shields, and take him out. Now we're going against the most difficult VHRT target that you come against, and that's the Anvil Hurricane. It's extremely difficult because it's got a lot of firepower, it's got an extremely tanky hull, and it's got a big shield. And if you're not able to keep the firepower on top of it, it's going to recharge shields anytime you give it more than 5 seconds without any incoming damage. So what we want to do here is focus on our piloting as much as we can to keep it in our sights and so that we can keep the pressure on. Since we don't have a ton of DPS, we need to just keep constant pressure on since we can't just burst it down in 1 or 2 passes. So here, we're trying to keep it in our optimum range. I like to stay between about 700, 600 meters to maybe 1,000 meters when I'm using laser repeaters, and that way we can keep the pressure on and not let it recharge. I've got our capacitor set to maximum weapons so that we recharge our ammo as quickly as possible and try to eke out as much DPS as we can out of the ship. The shields are holding. They're still at 32%, and that is fine. We don't need to recharge just yet. If we find a little gap of time where we're full on ammo and we can put our capacitors to shields, we'll do it. But until that happens, or until our shields go down, we're going to keep the pressure on by keeping capacitor on weapons. We can see now that our shields have gone down to 16%, so now we need to make a decision. We're either going to try and find opportunities to recharge our shield, or if we think that the target's almost dead, we could actually just press the attack and potentially go down to hull if we needed to. I know that the Hurricane is tanky, so I'm going to look for an opportunity to recharge our shields. Here we've got full ammo, so I put the cap back to shields to get some shields back. And then when the shields get to full, I'll put the cap right back to ammo so that we get right back to recharging without any real downtime. So now we've basically gotten all of our shields back without really any loss in DPS, and we're able to take out the Hurricane. So before jumping into the last bit of combat, let's go over the loadout. The only things I recommend changing in 315 are upgrading your shield to the grade A civilian shield for more HP and recharge rate, upgrading your quantum drive to the Atlas for better speed and fuel economy, and upsizing your weapons to fixed size 3 laser repeaters. I've gone with the Panthers because all size 3 laser repeaters are the same in 315 and the Panthers are the cheapest. So now let's get back to this last engagement. We've got ourselves another Hurricane. And so I mentioned in the fit that we were using laser repeaters. You could also use laser cannons, but they make it a lot harder to actually land shots on Hurricanes. And since Hurricanes are the most challenging target you go against, I have found myself preferring to use the laser repeaters. You'll also notice that we're using a lag pip compared to the default lead pip. So Rather than the targeting indicator showing me where to aim my ship to land my shots, instead it shows me where my shots are actually going to land. So you can see that anytime the reticule is over the enemy's actual ship, it turns green. And since we're going against a hurricane, like I mentioned, we want to try to do our best to focus on our piloting and keep on the DPS. We've done a reasonable job of keeping it inside the range that we want, which is around 600-700 to 1,000 meters, and we've also done a pretty good job of not letting it joust us, which means we've not just charged at it while it charges at us, and then we both pass each other, and now it's behind us. It tried to do that right there, but we managed to keep it in front of us. A good strategy for actually dealing with that jousting is rotating your ship like this and then thrusting upwards using your ship's bottom thrusters. Your ship's bottom thrusters are often some of the strongest thrusters. The bottom ones and the back ones are your best thrusters usually. So using those to help you maneuver is always a good idea. And so we're going to keep doing our best job of keeping it in front of us using our bottom thrusters by rotating, thrusting up anytime it starts to get around us, and strafing to the side to give us the angle when necessary. Boom, we got it. So yeah, the Origin 100i is a practical starter that's totally capable of earning you enough money from combat to get whatever ship you want. The other ships in the 100 series like the 125A and the 135C are even more capable by virtue of being more agile or having more missiles. But if I had to make a recommendation though, I'd say get a starter with a bit more DPS. If you're buying with real money, the Reliant Core is the same price and the Avenger Titan is only $5 more. But if this is what you're starting with, I think it's totally fine. I hope you've liked this video. Cheers.